Okay. February, March 2020, paper 3, variant 2. Okay, question 1. The height of the pile is 2.4 centimeters. Calculate the average thickness of one coin. So we have 8 similar coins. How can I find the average thickness of one coin? Yeah, it's quite easy. What should I do? Hmm. If I have the total height is 2.4 centimeters and I have 8 coins, what should I do? Hmm.
And divide
Divide what?
8 over 2.4.
8 over 2.4?
2.4 over 8, sorry.
2.4 over 8, yes. 2.4 over 8. This will give me 0.3 centimeters. حلو. I have a pile of coins, a measuring cylinder, and beaker containing some water. Describe how the student can measure the volume of one of the coins. How can he or she measure the volume of one of these coins? Yes, قولي.
هيحط a certain volume of water to the measuring cylinder. دي هتبقى ال initial volume.
Okay.
وهيحط ال pile of 8 coins.
Mhm,
وهيobserve the increase in volume.
mhm.
وهيcalculate يعني ال increase in volume وهيdivide ال volume اللي هو طلعها by 8.
Okay. حلو. It's quite easy. It's the displacement method. صح. طب يا مستر, should we use one coin or several coins? In this question it
Several.
doesn't. بالظبط. In this question we can use several coins, or you can use one coin. Actually, it's okay. يعني either way you will take the mark. If you say that we will use several coins, then in the final answer you should divide the final volume by the number of coins you've added. Or if you've taken only one coin, then the final volume would be the same. Okay. Dلوقتي I will do it using several coins. Let's say I will use the 8 coins. Initially, add water. Let me zoom in. Add water to the measuring cylinder. MS, I'll just write it MC as a measuring cylinder. Okay. Then measure volume 1. Okay. Measure the volume 1. Then add 8 coins to the add يلا 8 coins to the measuring cylinder, and then measure volume 2. Measure the new volume 2, which is the volume of the water and the coins. The volume of the coins, volume of the coins equals V2 minus V1. Volume of the coins. The volume of one coin is equal to the volume of the coins, the volume of the coins divided by divided by 8. You have to divide the final volume by 8. If you took only one coin, then you can just skip this step. Okay? Okay. Quite easy. Next question. 50 centimeter ruler is balanced. An 8 Newton force acts at a distance of 10 centimeters from one end of the ruler. Calculate the moment of the 8 Newton force. How can I calculate the moment? What's the equation?
Force times perpendicular distance.
Okay, so moment equals force times perpendicular distance. The force is 8. What's the perpendicular distance?
15.
15.
15. صح؟ 15. How did you find 15? شباب, احنا whenever we say perpendicular distance, we have to say perpendicular distance, distance to the pivot, or the distance between يا شباب distance between the force and the pivot. It has to be the distance between the force and the pivot. طب what's the distance between this force and the pivot هنا? It should be 15. طب how did you do 15? It's a 50 centimeter ruler and I split it in half. This is 25. So on the other side, this whole distance should be 25 centimeters. If you have 10, then the other part should be 15. Yes, how did I find it? 25 minus 10, which is equal to 15. Distance is 15. So 8 times 15 is 120. What's the unit of the moment?
Newton centimeter.
Okay, Newton dot centimeter or Newton centimeter. Hmm. Another force acts at a point 10 centimeters from the pivot. It makes the ruler balance. Draw an arrow to show the position and direction of this force. Where should this other force be?
على يمين البيفت والفوق.
مش on the right and upwards. Okay.
بس
يعني
مش تفرق لو من فوق البيفت، من فوق الرول نفسها أو تحت، صح؟
that's okay. Okay. So on the right and upwards 10 centimeters. Okay. Upwards 10 centimeters. 10 centimeters. And this is the force F. Okay. This is correct. Okay. This is correct. Well, are you sure it's wrong? Is it correct or is it wrong?
بس مش المفروض تبقى على
لا
البيفت
wrong.
بالظبط.
It's wrong. It's not upwards. It is downwards. Okay? It is downwards يا شباب. It's not upwards. It should be downwards and 10 centimeters. طيب. Why should it be downwards? So that it could it could balance. I have clockwise and I have anti-clockwise moments which are now balanced 10 centimeters on the right. طيب. If you wanted to draw it on the left side, okay, if you wanted to draw it on the left side, you could draw it on the left side and it would have been upwards. Okay, it would have been upwards if you drew it on the left side, not on the right side. On the right side, it wouldn't balance. Okay, 10 centimeters. Okay, if you drew it on the left side, it would balance. Yes, this would have been a bit harder to comprehend, but it would have been right. But again, the easier way to balance this ruler is to just put the force on the right hand side and facing downwards. قول لي. ايه سؤالك؟
مثلا هو ازاي 10 سنتيمتر؟
ازاي 10 centimeters? Um, this force would be equal to 12 newtons. Okay, so 12 times 10 is 120, and 8 times 15 is also 120.
اوكي ماشي.
Okay, but you're not required to calculate the force. Okay. يلا. Moving on to the next question. Calculate the weight of the ball. يلا. Weight equals
mg
hmm. What's G?
9.8.
0.12 times 9.8, which is equal to almost 1 point. 1 point what?
1.2 يعني 1.176 بس يعني 1.2 يعني.
Okay, 1.176 or 18. ايوه ايه سعر؟
بس هو احنا لو الماس بالجرامز
امم
لازم نحوله اسمه كيلو جرامز
yes.
علشان نعمله
Mass.
بالجرافيتي.
The mass has to be in kilograms. If it was in grams, you have to change it to kilograms.
شكرا.
Correct. Yep. Next question. Draw one line from each section. ST was constant acceleration. Okay. TU. What was happening in TU? What was happening in TU?
decreasing acceleration.
Decreasing acceleration. It is decreasing acceleration, correct. طيب. What's happening TU شباب in TU? It is accelerating. How do I know that it is accelerating? The speed increased. It was, for example, 7 and became 20. So the speed increased. It is accelerating. You have to make sure that you know that it is definitely accelerating from T to U. What type of acceleration? It's a non-uniform acceleration. This is something we know. Why is it a non-uniform acceleration? Because it is curving. So it's not a straight line. Should I memorize that this is a decreasing acceleration, or whenever it's an increasing acceleration, for example, or should I memorize increasing deceleration or decreasing deceleration? No, you're not required to memorize them. You're just required to know that this is accelerating and that this type of acceleration is non-uniform. If you look at the rest of the answers, you won't find any other accelerations. Hmm. At rest, this is the only one with acceleration, constant speed, slowing down. So this is the only one accelerating. So TU must be decreasing acceleration. Okay, non-uniform acceleration. What about UV? Hmm. What about UV?
constant speed.
Constant speed.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. Moving on to the next question. Determine the distance fallen in section UV. Yeah, quite easy. Distance fallen in the section UV.
area under the graph.
طبعا area under the graph. What's the area from UV? Very simple area.
20 times 2.
20 times 2. Distance from 2 to 4 is 2 and the height is 20. Area under 3 very easy marks. Area under the graph. This is an area of a rectangle, which is 2 times 20, 40 meters. State the distance fallen in VW. 40, so VW. No, it's the same. So VW is also the same, but this time it's only 1, 20 times 1. The base, the width is 1. Again, length times width, which is 20 times 20 times 1, which is 20 meters. Yeah. Okay. Quite an easy question. ماشي. Yeah. I have a circuit. State 2 forms of energy emitted by the filament lamp. 2 forms of energy emitted by the lamp. What are they?
Light or thermal.
Light energy and thermal or heat energy. Which form of energy inside the battery is decreasing?
Chemical.
Chemical, correct. Yeah. Chemical energy, definitely. This is the only energy stored inside the battery. Yeah. Chemical energy. Explain how the principle of conservation of energy applies to this
Neither
circuit.
created nor destroyed.
Okay, the energy is neither created nor destroyed. How does this apply to this battery?
The energy is not lost by the circuit except by heat أو light. يعني it's converted into something else.
Converted.
الكيميكال انرجي دي converted to light weight.
Okay, okay. يبقى the energy which is decreasing in the battery is the energy increasing or the energy dissipated or the energy lost due to light and heat. It's the same amount of energy. If you use up 100 joules from the battery, then you will give off 100 joules of light and heat. Okay? يبقى again um, again the energy used up by the battery is equal to the energy dissipated or the energy lost, okay, as heat and light. Okay, حلو. Hmm. Describe how the wind turbine produces electrical energy. Probably the easiest
Wind
source of
turns the turbine, then turbine turns the generator, then generator generates electricity.
yes, very easy, huh? Mm, very simple. The wind rotates the turbine, turbine rotates the generator, generator produces electrical energy. Nice. Kinetic energy.
مستر، هو مش ده اللي احنا حليناه في الموك بتاعنا اللي فات؟
Maybe. Okay.
غالبا هو.
Kinetic energy in the wind rotates the turbine. التوربين rotates the generator and the generator produces electrical energy. ماشي. State one disadvantage of using wind turbines compared to coal-fired power stations.
unreliable.
Not reliable, correct. State two advantages of using wind turbines instead of coal-fired power stations.
Do not contribute to acid rain
Okay.
رينيوبل
Yes.
وما بتعملش pollution.
Okay. Don't contribute or doesn't contribute to, let's say, global warming or acid rain. Okay. It is definitely renewable. Correct. حلو. Moving on to the next question. Molecules are closely packed. Gas or solid?
Solid.
Solid. Freely. Yeah. Free to move. We know it already. Huh?
Gas.
Gas. Far apart. Definitely. Gas.
Gas.
Can only vibrate.
Solid.
Solid.
Solid. طبعا randomly this is
Gas.
Okay. Smoke particle, it moved in this way. What's the name of this movement?
Brownian motion.
Hmm. Yeah, Brownian motion. Quite easy. Yeah. State what the motion of the smoke particle shows about the air molecules. What does the motion of the smoke particle show about the air molecules?
ممكن إن ال air molecules move fast and random colliding with smoke particle
Okay.
making it move in random directions.
Okay. Air molecules move fast and random. Move fast and random. Okay. Colliding with the smoke particle from all directions, causing a random zigzag motion. Yeah. A random zigzag motion. بس. Okay. This is the Brownian motion. Quite easy. Air molecules move fast and random in all directions, colliding with the smoke particles causing a random zigzag motion. ماشي. This is the thermometer, so it is cancelled. Okay. A is cancelled, B is cancelled. C, we can write down, we can solve C. State and explain one other application or consequence of thermal expansion. Do you know any of the consequences
انا مش عارف الريل واي بتاع
expansion
البلين
of
تقريبا.
iron railways.
of railways? Okay, حلو.
buckling
railways. ايه؟
buckling
buckling صح. buckling of the railways or buckling of the train tracks. Correct. Okay. buckling of the train tracks. طب how do we avoid it? أو يعني buckling of train tracks that they expand due to the heat of the sun, for example, in the summer, whatever, doesn't matter. How do we avoid the buckling?
Leave gaps between train tracks.
Okay. Leave gaps between the sections. Yeah, between the sections of the tracks. Okay. Yeah. ماشي. This is one of the consequences of the thermal expansion. Okay. حلو. Moving on to the next question. Determine the amplitude of this wave. Determine the amplitude of this wave. What's the amplitude of the wave?
0.9.
0.9 صح؟ This is the maximum amplitude هنا. Zoom in. Maximum amplitude was 0.9. طب what about the wavelength of this wave?
مصر لو حاجة ممكن تطلع فوق ثانية
هنا؟
اللي عند الباكلينج فوق.
Again, the buckling of the train tracks, they expand due to the heat of the sun in the summer. How to avoid it? Leave gaps between the sections of the tracks.
اوكي خلاص thank you.
Again, the amplitude of this wave was 0.9. How can I find the wavelength of this wave?
The wavelength 14.
The wavelength is 14. Type how did I find the wavelength? Okay, this is one wave. This is one wave. If I zoom in again to find where this wave ended, and it took two small squares after the 10. Each square is worth 2. يبقى 10, 12, and 14. This is the wavelength of this wave, 14 centimeters. Okay, 14 centimeters. It takes, يا شباب, 2 seconds for a source to emit the wave shown in 8.1. Calculate the frequency of this wave. Takes 2 seconds to emit the wave shown in figure 8.1. How can I find the frequency?
1 over the period.
Okay, but you don't have the period.
لا
Yeah, number of cycles
waves over time.
over total time.
Over time, correct. Number of waves over time. How many waves do we have?
8.
8. طيب. 1, okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 waves. Yes, we do have 8 waves. يبقى frequency equals frequency equals the number of waves over total time. Number of waves is 8 and the total time was 2, so the frequency is 4 hertz. Easy. Okay, just need to count the number of waves, which were 8, divided by the time, which was 2 seconds. Two regions are not labeled. What are the two missing regions?
infrared والtraviolet.
Infrared and ultraviolet. Describe one use of gamma rays. This is not Y rays, يا شباب. This is not called Y rays. It's called gamma. Treating cancer. Okay. We can say definitely treating cancer. ماشي. Draw the normal at the point where ray X strikes the mirror. Oh, ray X, which it strikes the mirror. I'll draw a normal. This is a normal. طبعا you draw it using the ruler and make sure that the ruler is perpendicular to the surface. This is the normal. Draw the path of ray Y after it strikes the mirror. What should I do? Ray Y, the other one. What should I do to draw the reflected ray of Y?
احنا هنdraw normal line برضو يعني نشوف
measure
الangle of incidence
Yes,
ونحطها هي
measure.
الangle of reflection.
Yes. Draw another normal at Y. And then measure this angle. I guess this angle was 60, maybe. Okay, I'll draw normal and then measure this angle, which is the angle of incidence. I have to make the angle of incidence equal to the angle of reflection. Okay, make sure that the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection and add an arrow. Do not forget to draw an arrow on the line. Make sure that these two angles are equal. Angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. I guess this angle was around 60, maybe 60 degrees. That's it. Okay. Normal, angle of incidence, angle of reflection. Moving on to the next question. Continue. Draw the path of each ray to locate the position of the image. Label it I. Okay. First line, which was parallel. The first parallel line. How should we draw this line?
اللاين اللي فوق ده هينزل على الفوكال بوينت
Okay. It will
واللاين اللي
bend.
بيعدي في نص اللينس هيكمل برضو زي ما هو.
Okay. The first one, which was parallel, it will bend towards the focal point. Okay. It will bend towards the focal point and continue. The second line, which is passing through the center, should continue as a straight line. To not bend, to not. Okay. The point of intersection, this is the image. Point of intersection, this is the image. So we will draw an image, an inverted line, okay, an inverted arrow, and I will name it I. صح? What are the properties of this image? I know he didn't ask, but what are the properties of this image?
inverted ودiminished.
Inverted.
لا مش لازم diminish.
It doesn't have to be diminished, yes. But this
inverted
question,
real.
inverted real, حلو, yes. You have to memorize that it is real,
هي
yes.
diminished by same size, bigger.
صح, it could be diminished, it could be same size, it could be larger. How do I know? I need to just measure using the ruler. I'll measure O and then I will measure I. If I is smaller, then I'll name it smaller or diminished. If I is larger than O, then خلاص it's enlarged or bigger. If it is the same size, خلاص, then it will be the same size. That's it. Okay. Okay. State a material which is suitable for the core of the electromagnet.
Iron.
Iron. صح. State the name for component X in figure 10.1.
variable resistor.
variable resistor.
Variable resistor. Describe and explain how component X varies the strength of the electromagnet.
A component X controls the resistance of the circuit that be inversely proportional to the current فallows more or less current to flow through the coil of thick wire.
Okay. Okay. As the resistance increases or decreases, the current will be inversely proportional. So as, for example, as the resistance increases, the current will decrease, and therefore the electromagnet will become weaker. Correct. That's it. Okay. How does it vary the strength? It is definitely inversely proportional. So as the resistance increases, the current decreases, and therefore the magnetic field decrease. Magnetic field strength also decrease. The reading on the meter is 1.5 amperes. Calculate the resistance of the circuit. How can I find the resistance of the circuit?
V over I.
V over I. R equals V over I. Okay. The V is the voltage of the circuit, which is 12. I is 1.5. 12 divided by 1.5 is 8. Okay. Three very simple marks. Compare the readings on ammeter A1, A2, and A3 in figure 11.1. Readings on ammeters A1, A2, and A3.
The same?
They are the same. Why are they the same?
Series
عشان the series current is the
Ah.
same.
Current is the same, صح? The same. يبقى they are the same. What about A1, A2, and A3 in figure 11.2? يلا in 11.2.
A1
Shared.
هتبقى less than the least of A2 و A3.
Or after A1 it will share. It will share to A2 and A3.
Which one is the greatest?
A1.
A1. A1 is the greatest.
مستر
صح.
طب لو مثلا الكرنت او مثلا الريزيستنس عند A3 مثلا اكبر من ريزيستنس A2 فيعني A2 تبقى اكبر صح؟
If resistance in A3 is greater than resistance in A2, then okay. يعني for example, if I have 5 ohms and 10 ohms, okay, then the current in A2 will be greater than the current in A3. Yes. But definitely A1 will still be the largest reading in this circuit. Okay. Yeah. State 2 advantages of connecting the 6-volt lamps in parallel. Well, 2 advantages
Can be controlled separately.
can be controlled separately.
If one broken won't affect others.
Okay. One is broken, it won't affect the others. And definitely the easiest one, which
The
is
voltage will be
equal
the
brightness.
same voltage and brightness, correct? Same voltage and brightness. And we can say if one is broken, then the other one is unaffected. Is unaffected. حلو. Each lamp has a resistance of 12 ohms. Determine the combined resistance of the two lamps in series. Quite easy. If they are in series,
24 ohms.
12 plus 12 each is 24. Compare the resistance of one lamp with the combined resistance of the two lamps in parallel.
اللي في البارل هتبقى less than.
Parallel would be less, so if it is on its own, then it would have a higher resistance. One lamp, it has more. One lamp has a higher resistance than, yeah, a parallel connection or whatever. Yeah. Determine the number of neutrons.
241
مستر انا ما
minus
فهمتش اللي فات
تاني.
اللي هي دبل اي.
Double I. When I connect lamps, when I connect resistors in parallel, what happens to the total resistance? Any parallel circuit, what happens to the total resistance? Total resistance decreases. Okay? Whenever you
تمام.
have a parallel circuit, the total resistance decreases. طيب يعني if I have one lamp on its own, which is 12 ohms, for example, okay? طيب what is the combined resistance of the two lamps in parallel? The combined resistance will definitely be less than 12. طب are you required to calculate it? لا. But again, if I have one lamp on its own, it's 12 ohms. طب if I have two lamps in parallel, total resistance will be less than 12.
هو يعني عشان زي ويل سبليت هيتقسموا ولا عشان ايه بالظبط؟
عشان the current will increase. So when the current increases, the resistance will decrease. Yeah.
تمام ماشي.
Okay. Again, determine the number of neutrons. 241 minus 95, which is
146.
146.
146. Determine the charge on the nucleus. Determine the charge on the nucleus, not on the atom. شباب. Determine the charge.
146 positive. لا معلش 95 positive.
Positive 95. On the nucleus, whenever I say on the nucleus, it's the number of protons in this nucleus. طب on the whole atom, it would be 0. If I told you what is the charge on the whole atom, it would be 0. Yes. But what is the charge on the nucleus? It is the number of protons found inside the nucleus. Why? Because this is the only charged element, the only charged particle inside the nucleus, which is the protons, so positive 95 in this case. Okay. Alpha particles. What are the correct statements about the alpha particles?
Third statement to fourth statement.
They are helium nuclei, correct? They are stopped by a sheet of paper. They definitely can't pass through. Okay, they are not electrons. They are not electromagnetic waves. Okay.
مستر يعني ايه هيليوم اتوم هيليوم نيوكليون؟
Helium nuclei. It means that it is the same as the nucleus of a helium atom. A helium atom, okay, a helium atom is 2 and 4, and alpha is also. So the alpha also has two protons, the same as in helium. It has two neutrons, the same as helium. The mass number of the alpha is 4, the same as the helium. But the difference between the alpha and the helium is that the alpha is only the nucleus of the helium. The alpha does not have any electrons. It does not have an electron shell as the helium. Okay, the alpha does not have an electron shell. That's the whole point. So it's only a nucleus. Okay. The half-life of this americium is 432 years. Sample contains 16 milligrams. Calculate the time taken until only 4 milligrams are remaining. Initially it was 16 milligrams, finally it was 4 milligrams. We need to find the time taken for it to decay.
هنقعد نعمل 16 ديفايد 2 لحد ما نوصل ل 4 ونشوف فيه كام هاف لايف ونعملها تايمز years.
Yes, 16 divided by 2 is 8, 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I took how many half-lives? 2 half-lives.
2 times 432 equal 864.
432 is 864. Quite simple. Again, what did I do? I kept on dividing by 2 until I found the final mass remaining. 16 divided by 2, I divided by 2 times, which meant I did 2 half-lives. Each half-life was 432 years long. 432 times 2, which was 864 years. This is correct.